Here's the real reason why houses are unaffordable right now. And it really has nothing to do with interest rates. Because the trouble is that, unfortunately, the Fed is using interest rates to solve a supply and demand problem. What happened was back in 2022, when interest rates raised, historically what happens is the government uses interest rates to pull back inflation. They say we raise interest rates, it will lower demand. The problem, though, is what happened before that. What happened leading up to it was not a interest rate problem. What happened leading up to it from 2008 up to that point in 2022, basically we had supply drop off a cliff because there was a housing crisis. So people were unemployed, especially in the real estate and construction industry. So builders stopped building and they were very slow to come back. They stopped building for over a decade. And meanwhile, our population was growing pretty dramatically, actually. And our existing housing stock was aging and people weren't really investing into it for the most part. And so you have aging housing supply, you have a growing population, and then you have builders that aren't building because they just got hurt in the last recession. So we have more than a decade of lagging supply and increasing demand. And so then the Fed said to themselves, well, how about we stop housing inflation by increasing interest rates? The problem was there's still demand there. There's still unmet demand. So interest rates cannot fix a supply and demand problem. It's still there. It just makes it less affordable. And so the thing that no one saw coming before they did it is that when they raised interest rates, it didn't cause a crash. It didn't cause prices to pull back. It just caused people to not want to sell their houses because they didn't want to trade their 2 and 3% mortgages for a 6, 7 or higher percent mortgage. It just doesn't make any sense. You can't fix a supply and demand problem with an interest rate solution.